Thursday. Once again, it's time for our design reveal. Hope you're having a great week and having a good holiday experience so far. Today is the final day of my buy two get one free sale and 25% off single items or anything over 3. So get your orders in if you're interested in trying some of our cards, and it's mix and match cards, kits, and my one bead mix, and whatever's the cheapest item will be what is for sale or what is free. But you know, that's how everybody works it, right? So, hope some of you got a chance to join me on Monday with Kay over at Stars Beads. We had a good time putting together our peacock. So hopefully those of you with your peacock kits, I know some are just getting them delivered today or yesterday, have a chance to make these beautiful creatures. I haven't made my small one that went with this one I made, but if you're still interested, I do still have some kits. And again, the sale, 25% off a kit or buy two, get one free. So if you're catching me on the replay today, let me know who you are and that you're watching and where you're coming in from, because I love to know who's catching me later in the day. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching me. I know there's a little competition out there today because there's a bunch of people showing off Christmas present ideas over on various other channels. So hey, I'm not offended if you catch the replay and catch some of those other folks. But anyways, hopefully you'll catch up with me. So today we are going to make a plant or garden stake. So, you know, there's lots of different ways to do that. One is, this is a garden stake. This was a design that Kay over at Stars Beads did. So what's on the end here is a very sparkly knob for cabinets, right? So it screws on to this long bolt, or it's not really a bolt. I don't know what the official name is. I have them though. I can always look that up for you. And then we took some large hold beads, the ones with the metal interior, also known as the Pandora style beads, right? And then just a nice nut to hold everything in place. And then you go out and you put this in and it just sparkles in your garden. I actually need to put this out in my garden, which I haven't, but lots of sparkle. So that's one way to make a plant stake. Another is just to make something smaller that goes in your houseplants. You know, we made bracelet helpers with these clips. Now, I have the short ones here in my hand, but if you use the longer one, you can decorate it, put a clip, and you can either put, you know, like the name of your plant, or you can put a picture, or you can put some sort of holiday decoration, anything on this clip. So that's another option for garden stakes. And just to remind you guys, I like to show you options of different designs. And the reason I do that is because chances are you are not going to draw the same cards I am. So if you're one of those people that draws it and you don't know where to start, I want to give you some ideas that get in your head, and then you can work with what you've got from there. So my draw was kind of interesting last week. I have to include leather in mine, and I have to include a lobster clasp, and I have to include 3 different types of findings. So obviously with what I showed you, that would be a challenge, right? Although, you know, basically you could hook anything onto the end of a clip, right? But what it means is I'm going to make a plant stake for an indoor plant. I have to use green today, which actually works because it's the Christmas season, right? So green is around. I debated using, I have some Grinch beads that I bought. I was debating using him, and he does have green, right? But we're going to go in a different direction today. But I will show you all that as we go along. And we are going to make ours using wire. You guys know I love wire. I've talked about wire a lot lately. So this is one of those places where you do need thick wire, or you're going to have to do a lot of wire wrapping, because you need something that's kind of sturdy, right? Although, you know, I was thinking you could just do a hook over the side of the, you know, the pot for your plant. I'm not necessarily going to do that method, but we could certainly, I can show you how that might work. And that is one option for how you would do, you know, a plant stake, plant marker. You know, use, these cards are meant to be a little flexible, right? You know, you don't have to be literal. It says a stake, but, you know, anything that goes into your plant or your garden would be fine. So anyways, hey Lorraine, thanks for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. I think your package is being delivered today. I think I just saw a pop-up on my email. So they always tell me it's going to take 5 days, but it doesn't. So you're on a very efficient route for the post office, apparently. So hope you've had a chance to play with your peacock kit and assemble them. Looking forward to seeing people post those. You know, all those posts will also get you in for this month's drawing. I haven't decided what this month's drawing will be. You know, you'll probably get something Christmassy, but who knows? I will think about that over the next week or so. So, oh, you did get them, okay? So, well, I'm looking forward to seeing people put them together. So, yeah, it looked like a bunch of packages got delivered today, which was good because I don't know, when I mailed them before Thanksgiving, several of my packages ran into problems, but we eventually got everything sorted out. So anyways, all right, I'm going to flip the camera over and let's remind everybody what we made, or what we're making. So just waiting for my second screen to catch up. So we are making the planter garden stake. Like I said, I showed this one that was a design that Kay made, which is a great sparkly design for your garden. Like I said, also these clips, I would probably use the longer ones, or you could use the short ones. I have too many beads on here if I'm going to put it inside a plant, right? But I could use that to label my plant or something. But we're going to make our own out of wire. I also have to put leather in my design, which is another reason why my thought is I have to make this for an indoor plant, because leather would get messy real quickly out there. I guess my light is a little harsh today. Oh well, hope those do that. I also have to use a lobster clasp, which also makes things interesting, but I'll explain how I'm going to make that work. And I have to use at least 3 types of findings. So you wouldn't think that findings would necessarily go into your plant, but in this case they are going to. I had made a plant stake a while back that had Halloween stuff, and I cannot find it. It's probably in with my Halloween decorations, which obviously already got put together or put away, but I didn't even get it out this year, so that's why I'm a little confused as to where it is. But anyways, I'm gonna set these cards. So remember what we're gonna work with today. So I have just a piece of scrap leather. It's 1.5 millimeter leather, which is my favorite width to work with. I don't have a Christmas bowl, so I'm using my, actually I might have a Christmas bowl. but I'm using my Halloween or my pumpkin ball still, but it works. All right, so I've got to use green. So I got some green, these are those number 2 seed beads, so they work great on leather. We're going to use those. I've also got a nice little snowman head that's got some green on there. So we've got the green covered, right? We've got the leather. And then I've got my lobster clasp because I have to use a lobster clasp. And I have to use at least 3 types of finding. So I was going to count the lobster clasp as one of them, but I actually think I have 4 here, so it doesn't have to. I've got a closed ring that I'm going to use. And I've got some metal rhinestone beads. And then I have some jump rings that I'm going to use to hook the clasp onto the leather, okay? And that's only because, you know, if I was using a bigger clasp, the hole might be big enough to put the leather through, but in this case, the size of the clasp I'm using has a small hole. And then I have another little kind of Christmassy bead here. So what we need is some wire, because we do have to make a stake of some sorts. When I have to use stiff wire for something, I don't necessarily want to wire wrap the whole thing, but you could. That would help. You know, if you only have like 20 or 18 gauge maybe as your thickest wire, you may want to strengthen it up a little. I would double it over and do some wrapping with some smaller wire. I have this, which I bought at my hardware store. I'm sure it was probably Ace. This is a dark annealed steel wire, so it's black, but it's really stiff. So this is great wire to use for things that you need something really stiff. And it's 19 gauge, but it's definitely hard wire. So if you're not much into wire, especially when you're buying like silver or copper wire, it comes in soft and it goes all the way up to hard wire. Now, hard wire is a lot more difficult to bend, so you want that for things that need to be sturdy. Now, you can often, which we did with when we made ear wires, you can hammer your wire and that'll harden it up a little. But for something that you want like just a stiff kind of stick, you do want to at least start with some thicker wire. I also, you know, if you have a hobby store or, you know, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, any of those that sell artistic wire, it does come all the way up to like 16 gauge. I've never seen anything thicker than that, but actually 16 gauge I think would work just fine as well. So, and it is thicker than this steel wire, but the steel wire is plenty hard too. But I mean, I may use this green wire. Doesn't necessarily match the green in my beads, although yeah, it's not too bad with this one because this is teal. I didn't have a true green. This is an aqua colored wire, but I already have my greens in there anyways. So, you know, the thing to see is how stiff do I need to make this and how tall, right? So I'm just making it for a house plant. So it just has to be, you know, tall enough to stick out of the soil and maybe dangle these things from it, you know, near the side of the plant. But you could make it really tall and dangle things in the middle of your plant, depending on what kind of plant you're going to put it into, right? So, so we'll try the 16 gauge wire and see what we think. Just a reminder, if you're using steel wire, use your memory wire cutters or they're going to ruin your cutters, unless you have some really heavy duty wire cutters. But memory wire cutters work great for steel wire. And even for the 16 gauge, you may want to use those as well, depending on how, you know, what kind of cutters you have. If you have expensive cutters that are like really straight cutters, they are rated as to how high of gauge they go to, and most of them will go to like 14 gauge, so you should be able to cut the 16 with it. But that's, like I said, just a warning. As you're working with stiffer wires, you may want to use your memory wire cutters just to be safe. So this is pretty stiff wire, and I can still hammer it and make it a little stiffer as well. So like I said, I'm not trying to make anything too tall, because I'm thinking I will stick it in and hang it over the edge to dangle my little plant stake here. So the question is, do I want to double up my wire and make it really stiff, or do I just want a single strand? And I may double it up, which means I need a little more wire, and I'm just going to eyeball this. Let me cut a little extra, but let me cut this, and then I'll tell you how much I actually cut. So all right, ruler. So I'm starting with 12, so about 16, just under 16 inches of wire, which is fine for what I'm going to do. I'm also going to use my my wire working pliers. Now, these work fine for anything you're going to do, unless you're doing really fine work. But there's something about these ways. They're all from Bead Smith, and I don't know. I just love these pliers. They're really easy to work with. They're not expensive, and they're great when you're working with harder, thicker wire. So, all right. So I'm going to flip this wire over it. I think in the middle. See, this is what happens when you do it on the fly. you get some stuff where we're having to make decisions. So, you know, this is soft enough wire, even though it's thick, that I'm able to bend it pretty well. But I'm going to go ahead and just gently squeeze that end in close. That's close enough, right? And so now I have about an 8-inch hook that I can stick into my plant. I don't want these wires just going crazy down here, so I'm going to wrap one of them around the other one, just to hold it in place. Okay, so I am just wrapping one around the other one, and then we're going to have to do some bending to get this all straightened out. Now, I could trim that. This is the part that's going to go in the dirt, though, of my plant, so I am not too concerned about whether my wrap looks beautiful or not, because, like I said, I am going to put that into my plant. Now, I do have a little bit of a curve in here, which is okay too. Like I said, it depends on how far you want it to stick out. I have my, I'm going to hammer it a little bit just to tighten it up. So I got the big block out here today. Now, since this is colored wire, I don't want to hammer too much, or I'm going to lose some of the color, but I'm just trying to kind of straighten it up and stiffen it up a little bit. All right, so I have a just the long thing here. Let me move this back out of the way. And, you know, like I said, I think this wire is fine. You really didn't need to firm it up, but it just depends on what you want. So what I'm thinking of doing is just like doing a hook. So I'm going to take my baling pliers and I am just going to put a loop in here, and then I'm going to put a smaller loop down here. I think I'll use my round nose because I really don't need a big one. But I'm not going to close that all the way yet because that's where I'm going to hang. Well, actually, yeah, I can't. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to put this this loop on there, because remember I have to use findings, right? And then I am just going to close this loop. So now I have here I would stick this down into the dirt on my plant and this hanging over the edge, right? So by having this, what I'm thinking is I would use my lobster clasp, which I'm going to just show you, hook it on here, and then whatever decoration I want will hang off of there. And that lobster clasp, like I said, you wouldn't normally think to use it in a garden stake, but it makes it so I can have interchangeable things for my holiday, and I don't have to take that out of my plants. So let me move my pliers out of the way. So we have our stake, we have that hook too. So now we just need to make our design. So I think I'm going to make a loop at the end, and I am going to make a barrel knot. So I'm going to actually put the jump ring on there because the jump ring is going to hook onto here. And actually, you know what? Let me put it through my lobster clasp first because it'll be harder to do once it's on the leather. So I'm using these pliers that are way too big, but it's okay. So remember, you turn to the side, you do not turn or not pull the pieces apart, you turn them. Slide your lobster clasp on. And put that on there. So now I'm going to put my leather through there. Now because I'm going to knot one side around the other, I'm going to pull one side a little longer, and that's the one I'm going around. So if you're trying to decide how much leather you need when you're doing a knotted design, if you're doing barrel knots, I would say, well, it all depends on how many knots you're putting in your design, right? So if you're just putting knots at the end, you know, just add couple extra inches. If you're doing a ton of knotting, you want to go at least like 3 times the length usually of whatever your finished design is going to be. So I'm going to use the tube. Kelly Sutton always used the tube method. It does make things easier. So I'm going to put it between my 2 pieces of leather. I'm going to take the longer one and I'm going to wrap around once, twice, 3 times, just because it makes a lace knot. Then I'm going to take that end of that and I'm going to slide it into the tube. And then you just pull it through and you end up with this nice knot, except for that I didn't hold on to it. So it have to be, let me see if That's one thing, is you do need to hold on to your knots, because otherwise they will get mixed up, right? And then you just want to slide it and pull it tight towards whatever whatever you're trying to put, whether it's between a bead or you know, if that's part of your design. So here I'm just making it, I have a little loop there. So one of the things I do enjoy making knotted leather designs. I don't really have, I do have just a basic, and I do not have fancy knots on this, my one leather design. So now I have my lobster clasp, my jump ring, and I took down to my leather. So I have 2 lengths of leather here, and so I'm thinking I would put this snowman head on one side. So I'm going to use a green bead just to bring out the green in his design a little bit. I was trying to decide if, you know, if that's okay with just the green bead at top. Hey, Janelda, thanks for joining us. What do you guys think? Do you think that's balanced, or should I put this red bead and then another green bead to completely balance it? What do you think? The extra red and green bead? No bead? Just a green bead? Just a red bead? Any ideas? What do you guys think? Your husband just came in today. Oh, okay. Darn it. Doesn't he know you're busy? So what do you guys think? Does that look good, or do I have too many beads here at the bottom? Should I just cut him off there? You like it with both beads or without? Like it this way? Okay. So, you know, when we're working with weather, hey Betty, thanks. So it looks like I have multiple votes for with both beads. Okay. All right, we'll put those all in there. So I like, you know, my beads to have a little movement. So I'm probably just going to put a knot underneath this and let it kind of flop around that way. Now, if I wanted it to be, you know, very compact and held tight, I could put a knot here and then a knot there. But I think I'm going to let it flop around a little. And then when we do the other side, maybe we'll put multiple knots. So you do have to decide a little bit of how much you want it to hang down. But I think, you know, I think about there. Now, since I only have the single here, we still can use this, the tube. Now, you'll want to push your beads up higher than you actually want them, so they're not in your way as you're doing this. And you need to make sure, you know, you may not have as much leather here as you think, because barrel knots take a lot of leather, so we may only do twice around this time. But we're going to go ahead and, yeah, actually I need to do that again because so again, I'm going to go around here and then through. I may have to slide this down a little because my wire, or my leather, is not real long. So I'm putting the end of the leather into the tube, and you want to hold on to the wrap part and then gently pull this tube and hope that you got it through there. So now I have, see, I have my knot held in my hand, and then I just need to pull. Now, if I wanted to push it up further, I need to do that as I'm tightening it, right? But I think we'll be good. This leather I'm using is matte finish, and it does make a difference. If you're using shiny leather, you may need to make sure you pull those knots extra tight without breaking it. Now that is the key. Or you might want to glue them, because sometimes the shiny leather will kind of unknot itself. That's why I kind of like often working with this matte finish leather, because it doesn't come off so much. So rather, I'm going to do 2 tangles. So I was thinking on this other side, question here. So because I don't want to leave just the side of this metal thing open, I am going to put a seed bead next to it. But I could do multiples. So I was thinking, you know, I could do, you know, the red and then this. Although I think, do I ever use glue? Yes. Often I use glue on leather, and you do have to pick the right glue. So don't use regular super glue. I don't have it out, but there's one called like a new glue or something. It's in a little white bottle with a blue label. That's a great one. Or if you do buy super glue, use the actually you can use super glue on leather. I'll take that back. But get the one that's a little bit gel rather than the really thin one. But I often use it on my knots just to make sure they hold, just a little dab. So I do like to get the one that has the, you could even use what is it, the GS Hypo works too. There is yeah, it's, like I said, it's in a white bottle. Let me grab it, because I just don't keep my glue out. This is, yeah, it's called Super New Glue. This is my favorite for using on leather, because it doesn't get too stiff, but you can use just the Loctite super glue, these little minis. I've used that, and it works too. But yeah, this is my favorite. Like if you're putting leather into like a metal component and you want to glue it, this is what I use. But like I said, I know a lot of leather people. If you guys are familiar with T-Beads, Tammy Kerber, I know she uses the Loctite super glue, and she does a lot of leather work. So anyways, so here we can't, I was gonna say, well, we got to figure out our design first, and then we can put our knots on there, because I can pull it back off. So I can do the kind of green around it so that it kind of goes with the snowman, or I could do red, or I could do one of each. I need to get another red bead out if we're gonna look at it with the red. So again, I'm just using, these are from Michael's. I always buy, you know, these these #2 beads when they're on sale, because they're so handy on leather and some of these other projects we've been making. let's try this with red. And you also, if you're going to use, not all of these metal rhinestone things have big enough holes for leather, but these particular ones did. I found them in a leftovers pile from, I'm sure, one of my soft flex kits or something. I don't know, you guys think that one looks kind of like it better with the red, because I think the green is not the right color green. What do you think? Anybody have an opinion? It is kind of a grinchy green that I pulled out. I'm sure I do have a darker green somewhere, but okay. You like the red. I'm taking that, the red for the hearts, okay. Definitely, okay. I agree with you guys. I don't know why I have all my tools out here. All right, so if I wanted to stick in a certain spot, and the reason I might want to do that is it's going to hang down next to it, so I might want it to start there and dangle below it, right? So that they're not knocking against each other. So if I want to put a knot above this, looks like we're all in agreement that red is the best one. So I'm just going to do a 2 wrap knot here, and that's because I don't want to run out of leather. So as I tighten this, so it's a little high, although I think it's going to have to be, because otherwise I won't have enough leather to tie my bottom knot. But that hangs it down a little. So that way it's not going to pop up towards the top of my leather. I'm so happy I drew green this week so I could do some Christmassy themed project. So. All right, so now I don't have a whole lot of leather left, but I do have enough to make a knot. This is when it gets tricky though, when it's when your leather's a little short. And I was using a piece that was left over from something else, so so it's not going to let me wrap it around the tube. So I may just, you know what, just tie a regular old knot here and just say it'll be okay, right? All right, so there we have, actually it came out about the lower part that I wanted it. So this way, like I said, they're not interfering with each other. When they're dangling. And now I can just trim this leather. You can use scissors, or I use my wire cutters. It's all good. So, okay, so we made our stock earlier. We have our hook, and now we just clip him on. And like I said, I can stick this in my plant, and you know, I'll probably sink it up to there, and this can hang over the side. And now, because I'm using the lobster clip, I can make different seasonal things, just an added decoration to my my indoor plants. Like I said, I wouldn't use leather for outside, because you know, first time it rains, it'll stretch, and then eventually it'll crack. Here, the heat would make it crack before the rain, because we don't get much rain. But so there's my plant holder. I also made a stick. You know, this was made with that 19 gauge steel wire I was showing you earlier. So this one's nice and stiff, but this one is stiff enough. You know, it's not going to get a whole lot of abuse, right? So that's our plant plant stake, garden stake exercise for the day. I'm looking forward to, and I think we hit all the criteria. Like I said, the 3 types of findings. I have a jump ring, this loop, and I also count metal beads as a, oh yeah, rubber tubing could work. You know what, I don't actually have, I have some of that rubber tubing that fits over, like wire or something, but I guess I don't usually try to use it like that, but that's a good point. I need to consider using that. But we had our lobster class, we have our leather, and we have our green, and we had our 3 types of findings. So, yay, success. All right, let me flip this back over. All right, yay, we made another project. Can you believe next week is week 50? So Sunday, we will be drawing for week 50. And we'll do a little Christmas project. I haven't decided. I think we're going to make some tree earrings with this spiral. I think we're going to make some of those on Sunday when we draw to see what we're doing for week 50. I'm going to make a confession. I have like enough tree earrings in my Christmas earring collection that there aren't enough days in December to wear them all. And just so you know, I don't just have trees. And I continue to buy more tree beads because I keep seeing cute ones everywhere. So you guys need to, I don't know, I might have to have an intervention at some point and part with some of my tree earrings. Either that or I need to get more holes in my ears so I can wear multiple pairs. I don't know, but I obviously have a problem. I wear, I love tree earrings at Christmas time, so. So anyways, so like I said, we may make those because, you know, I don't have enough tree earrings, although those could end up being our giveaway, right? So those may be our giveaway, although, like I said, I do have lots of tree stuff. So, all right. Thanks again for joining me. Remember, today's the last day for the sale. I forgot to put a reminder up this morning, but I will honor any orders that come in today. Mix and match everything. Or start doing outfit swaps. Yeah, maybe I should swap. Well, though, see, I still don't need more earrings. That's the problem for Christmas because, like I said, I can't wear them all. I need to start selling them or something. Anyways, like I said, last day for the sale. Mix and match. Buy 2, get 1 free. Kits, cards, and my 1 bead mix. Thank you all that have ordered. I really appreciate you helping support my small business. We will be back on Sunday at noon Mountain Time for our week 50 drawing. Can you believe it? I mean, that means we've done almost 100 projects, right? So, wow. Yeah, so 52. And I haven't decided yet, you know, if I stick with Sundays, there's actually 53 weeks this year, although my reveal would be in the new year. So because actually the year started on a Monday, so I cheated. It wasn't Sunday. So I haven't decided if there's going to be 53 weeks this year or if I'm drawing for week 1 when I draw all the holidays. But I know it's complicated. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you made, Janelda. Yeah, get your posts in. Remember, I know, Katney, you just started your, hopefully your, I can't remember if yours was one of them that it said was out for delivery today, or did you might have already gotten them. But get your projects posted, get in for the free giveaways this month. Like I said, Not sure exactly what it'll be, but it'll be something Christmas. Yeah, Janelda does. She has kept up with me all year, and I really appreciate seeing the clever designs, and it's been fun having people play with me. So, you know, there's always a new year. We can start a new year, and many of you can, you know, can start the new year with us and see if you want to do it. I'll probably touch base with you guys a little bit right after the new year and just talk about what I feel like I've gotten out of this year, and maybe if Janelda's willing, she can come on with me and talk about what she feels she got out of it. So I'll work on that. What do you think, Janelda? You willing to talk with me live about what you thought about this year of using the cards? So you don't have to decide today. Yeah, Katney, I couldn't remember. Like I said, I think all of the packages I mailed are out for delivery today that haven't already been delivered. So everybody should be happy. But like I said, if you think you missed, if you think you missed anything, want to buy something, take advantage of the sale, get it in today. Hey, Marianica, thanks for popping in. And yeah, post office is crazy. I've been there twice this week. Actually, my husband went Monday because I was making peacocks with people. So again, if you didn't already join us, you didn't see us Monday, we did do the peacock make along. Oh, and speaking of the peacock and the turkey kits, so I put a QR code in there. I'm getting notices that from the thing I used to make those QR codes that it may not be working. So if you want to find the videos, because it's just me talking, there's a little less chitter chatter, shorter video on how to make the turkeys and peacocks. You can go over to my YouTube channel, which is at Desert Cat Creations over there. If you do have a YouTube account, I would really appreciate it if you would follow my or subscribe to my page. I would like to be able to stream to both YouTube and Facebook, but I don't have enough subscribers on YouTube. I think I have to get to 50, so it's not quite as bad as Facebook. But, you know, at least Facebook lets you do it for a while, and then if you haven't gotten enough, then they cut you off, but they let you do it initially. YouTube doesn't even let you do it until you have at least 50 subscribers. So anyways, I'd appreciate that. You couldn't get the QR code to work. Okay, so I'm going to post those videos over into the Bead Stash Challengers group so that you guys can see them. And yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize that they could disable a QR code after the fact. It's a learning experience. So I will, like I said, I'll post those links to those videos over in our Bead Stash Challengers group. And like I said, you know, it's a good reminder. Also, like I talked a little bit about, if you wanted to make the wire feet instead of the beaded feet, there is a video in our Bead Stash Challengers group as well that I made back last year when we made turkeys. And you can use that. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't understand how a QR code, they can make the QR code go away. Obviously, they put something in there, which I didn't realize, because I've made them before using other programs. So obviously I just chose poorly on this one. So I apologize. But like I said, I will put those two videos into the group so they're easy to find. Like I said, they're, you know, you guys also have the Facebook videos where we made the things, but, you know, like I said, there's a little less chatting in the YouTube video if you're wanting to just rewatch certain parts of it. So I'll put that out there today. All right. Again, thank you. If any of your friends are, like I said, wanting to get into the cards or the kits, today's the day. Like I said, the sale will be ending at, I would say, midnight or anything. I don't know. If anybody sends me an order tonight, long as I get it before tomorrow morning, I will honor my sale prices. But anything after maybe like 8 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow, the prices go back to normal, which I do still offer the, if you order more than one thing, you get $1 off for each item, or if you order the non-jewelry findings bundle, it's $5 off. So we do have that will go back to the standard deals after today. All right, I will let you all go get back out there, and I gotta go finish putting up my Christmas decorations. I've been very slow. I got about half of them up yesterday. Gotta do the rest of them today, so that I can start wrapping packages and getting those out of my house for my relatives. So you watched me out in stars the other time. Okay, yeah, the peacock's a little more complicated. Like I said, if the part you're struggling with is the tail, yeah, you need to watch the peacock video. If it's the feet, you can watch either the turkey or the peacock video, because I did the feet twice in the turkey video. I only did it once in the peacock video, but I know they can be a little complicated, but I think when you finish him, you'll be so glad, because they're, I don't know. I think, along with the rabbits, this is my favorite kit that we've had. So, well, good for you decorating. Yeah. Now I have to convince my husband to put some lights outside, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Some days I'm successful in getting him to do that, and other days not. So, all right. I look forward to seeing what you guys are making. Post something out there. I talked about ornaments on Sunday. I'd love to see what kind of ornaments you guys make, or holiday jewelry. Just, share it in the group. Maybe people will be inspired, especially those that aren't like me, that have way too much holiday jewelry already. But, there's always room for more, right? All right. See you Sunday at 12 noon, and hope you guys have a great weekend. That works, Janelda. Yeah. Yep. We kind of do the outside together, because it's hard to wrap things around the trees alone. But so, anyways, we're gonna be doing that, and yeah, we'll make a little Christmas project on Sunday along with drawing our cards. All right, we'll see you all then. Bye.